Hey everyone, welcome back to Bible Q&A. In this video, the question I'm going to be answering is, what are signs of the times? In Matthew chapter 24 verse 3, Christ's disciples, who had listened to their master talk about the kingdom on many different occasions, wanted to know what events they would see happening in the world that would indicate his return. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Why did the disciples ask Jesus for signs? What did they exactly need them for? Our goal in this video is to find answers to that question. Let's start by analyzing the text previously cited. Notice that the disciples asked Jesus for signs or events that would indicate his coming. This tells us that Christ's coming would not be very obvious. If Jesus were to descend physically in a way that all humans could see it, as it sometimes said, what would be the need for signs? Paul the Apostle affirms this in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 16, where he states clearly that Christ would not come physically the second time like he did in his first advent. Wherefore henceforth know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Christ after the flesh, yet now henceforth know we him no more. In other words, his return would be spiritual. This explains why Christ and the apostles said his coming would be like a thief in the night. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Revelation chapter 16 verse 15, see also 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 2. Of course, Christ isn't doing it intentionally, just as he didn't intentionally ascend to heaven in the presence of only 11 men. That's just how it happened, and the angels told the disciples after Christ ascended that just as he ascended in the presence of few people, his return would be in that manner. Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Acts chapter 1 verse 11. A text that may make it look like Christ's coming would be physical is Revelation chapter 1 verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. I'd actually like to digress a bit and break down this text, and you'll see why it's important afterwards. The phrase he cometh with clouds refers to the invisibility of his return, not that he would physically descend with clouds. Texts like Ezekiel chapter 32 verse 7 and Acts chapter 1 verse 9 use the word cloud in the context that they hide, cover, or conceal, making it invisible. In Exodus chapter 14 verses 19 and 20, an angel set a cloud between the Egyptians and the Israelites so that the Egyptians would not be able to see through. Secondly, when the text says, and every eye shall see him, it's talking about spiritual eyesight, which is more like awareness. God's children are aware of Christ's return based on signs of the times they watch. Paul referred to this as having eyes of understanding in Ephesians chapter 1 verse 18. Jesus also discussed spiritual eyesight in John chapter 9 verses 39 to 41, where he told the Pharisees that those who think they know God but don't actually know him are spiritually blind, but those who acknowledge their lack of spiritual knowledge can receive sight by listening to the gospel message. The part that says, and they also which pierced him, is talking about those who don't believe the message of Christ. They will also see Christ, but not physically. Rather, they will feel Christ's judgment on their lives because the consequences of their disobedience will affect them. Isaiah the prophet used both types of seeing that I have just described in Isaiah chapter 26 verse 11. So let's look at that text. Lord, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see and be ashamed for their envy at the people. Yea, the fire of thine enemies shall devour them. The first C is related to the understanding that God's children have of world events based on spiritual knowledge, which the rebellious Israelites did not have. And the second C refers to the punishment that God's enemies will face. It's like when you're angry at someone and you tell them, you will see. So, now that we've gone into all that, let's return to the question that we want to answer. Signs of the times are physical events that show that Christ has returned and is ruling in the midst of his enemies, in fulfillment of Psalm 110, verses 1 and 2. The signs of the times are not a prelude to Christ's return. Rather, it is his return that would cause those signs. So if we agree that the signs are fulfilling in our time, then that means Christ has returned. To broaden our understanding of what signs of the times are, let's look at a good biblical example. When God came to deliver his people from Egypt, there were events that began to take place, especially the 10 plagues, that showed his intention to do that. Before God used Moses to show all those signs, nobody really believed that the Israelites would ever become free, including Pharaoh himself, if you read Exodus chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. But as the signs started to happen, it became more clear who was really in charge of the place. And at the end, when the greatest signs fulfilled, it became clear to everyone that God was sovereign and that his people would leave no matter what. And that is exactly what happened. Those signs that God showed in Egypt were the only way the Egyptians and even his own people could understand that he had come for them. Moses announcing it wasn't enough. Physical events had to show that those were God's intentions. During Christ's days on earth, too, he was the sign that God's children living at the time could watch. And when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, "This is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it but the sign of Jonas the prophet. For as Jonas was a sign unto the Ninevites, so shall also the Son of Man be to this generation." That is Luke chapter 11, verses 29 and 30. In summary, signs of the times are events we witness in the world that indicate that Christ has returned. In this video, we've studied the nature of Christ's return and how signs of the times work. But it's a whole other topic to discuss what the signs actually are and how they are fulfilling in our time. Thankfully, we have other videos that have gone into such details, so you can check those out. I'll round off with Luke chapter 21, verse 36, where Christ advised that we should be attentive to the signs that are fulfilling and seek assistance from God to live righteously during these times. "Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man." So, that is where I think I'm going to stop on answering this question: what are signs of the times? If you enjoyed this video and like the different things that I said, then consider clicking the like button and also subscribing. And you can click the notification bell as well to be notified when we come back with future videos just like this. Have a good day, and God bless you.